The JKS Jspec 2.5-inch lift kit for your 2007 and up 4-door JK is going to be a very well built and very complete lift kit that's going to perform very well on-road and off the road. Now, the J-Control version of this lift kit is going to be more expensive. It's also going to include some additional components, like some control arm brackets to help correct for your pinion and your caster angle in the front of your Jeep, where this kit is not going to have that. So, can you run 2.5 inches of lift without any sort of caster and pinion correction? Yes. If you decide you do want to run some sort of pinion or caster correction, you can always add a set of control arm brackets or get a set of adjustable control arms, which will also add some articulation to your Jeep. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. A kit like this that's at 2.5 inches is going to be for those of you who want to run roughly a 35-inch tire, still have some room to flex. That's going to be a combination that looks really good, but also works very well on-road and off-road. Now, JKS does provide a very well-built, well-put-together lift kit that does include a set of Fox shocks. And even though these aren't the top-of-the-line Fox shocks, this is still going to drive the price of this lift kit up a little bit. So, when you're looking at JKS, you should expect a well-built, fairly complete kit. However, you are going to pay a little bit more because of the quality of the components that are included. This kit includes a set of 4 new coil springs, which are going to provide those 2.5 inches of lift, and these are going to be a dual-rate coil spring. Now, there's much debate about what is best, a linear, dual rate, triple rate, or a progressive rate spring. The dual rate that come in this kit are going to provide a fairly comfortable ride when you're at ride height, but also a slightly stiffer spring when you do get down too close to a coil bind situation. So they're going to be good for off-road as well as on-road. As I said, this does come with a set of Fox shocks for that new taller ride height. These are going to be the Fox Adventure Series 2.0 shocks. Now, these aren't going to be the T6061 aluminum that the higher end Fox shocks are. These are going to be an alloy that are covered in a powder coat finish instead of just a clear anodized finish, but either way, they're still going to provide a really nice ride. These are going to be a nitrogen charged shock, and the nitrogen charge in that shock is there to eliminate any sort of bubbling or cavitation that you can get in the shock fluid when you work that shock really hard over time. Working a shock over a long period of time or hitting some higher speed washboards can cause some shock fade, and a nitro shock will have a lot less of that, help to eliminate any kind of shock fade. Now, in general, a nitro shock will ride harder than a hydro shock, but most of the ride quality does come down to valving, and that's something that Fox does really well. So you're still going to get a comfortable ride from these shocks while still getting the benefits of that nitrogen charge. Here you have a front track bar that comes in this lift kit. This is going to be an adjustable track bar that's much stronger than the factory bar. The factory track bar can start to flex when you get a larger tire on your Jeep. This is going to give you 0 flex, so you're not going to have any wobble type feeling. And this is of course adjustable, so you can fully center that front axle underneath the Jeep. Over here, you're going to have a rear track bar bracket. This doesn't provide you with quite as much adjustability as some of the other ones out there. You're not going to be able to change the roll center. It doesn't give you 3 different positions for mounting your track bar. However, it is a very well-built, very stout track bar that's going to get the job done, moving the mounting point up a little bit, flattening out the track bar angle, and working very well to get you back on the road again. Over here, you have a set of JKS quicker disconnects for the front of your JK after you get your lift kit installed, and I really like these sway bar disconnects. These are going to be adjustable so you can get the length exactly where you want it, and you can disconnect these from not just one side but both sides, allowing you to completely remove them and throw them in the Jeep, as opposed to some of the others that just allow you to disconnect from one side and then fold them up out of the way. These are also going to be greasable. They fit very tight, so you're not going to get any rattles, and because they are greasable and made of high quality materials, they're going to last you a good long time. The kit's also going to include all the hardware necessary to get it installed, as well as some brake line relocation brackets that are going to be necessary to ensure you don't pull a brake line taut when you're off-road. This is going to be a 2 out of 3 wrench installation that will take you around 3 hours to get done. This isn't a kit that includes control arms, so you're not going to have to do that additional work, which will cut down on the time a little bit. You're going to want to have a socket set and some wrenches handy, of course a jack and some jack stands. If you have access to a lift and either pneumatic tools or electric tools, it'll definitely speed the process along, and I always recommend spraying all of the applicable nuts and bolts with a good penetrating oil well before you get started. That time spent is going to pay dividends in the end, speeding up your installation. Now, With any lift kit, the first step is going to be jacking up the Jeep and supporting it by the frame, then removing or loosening anything that keeps the axles from completely drooping. So that's going to be your sway bar end links, your brake line brackets, your track bars, and of course your shocks. That'll allow you to completely sag those axles and pop out the factory springs. At that point, you can replace your factory springs with your new taller springs, and as you reassemble, swap in your new components. So bolt up those new shocks, new sway bar end links, and track bars and track bar brackets as you're reinstalling all of those parts. Again, this is something that's probably going to take you around 3 hours, give or take depending on the tools you have at your disposal, but it is something you can do in your driveway. This is a $1,200 lift kit, and a lot of that cost does come from the Fox shocks. Fox does make a premium product. They do charge a little bit more for them, and even though these aren't Fox's top of the line shocks, they are going to be more expensive than some of the other kits out there that have a more no-name style shock with them. But you're not just paying for the shocks with this. You are getting a lot of components, and you're getting a lot of high quality components from JKS, which are going to make this lift kit ride really well and last a long time. So in my opinion, this is worth the $1,200 price tag. So if you're looking for a high quality 2.5-inch lift kit, I definitely recommend the JKS Jspec 2.5-inch that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.